Well, hello
Right.
everyone, and welcome to our cervical chat, Embracing Your Beauty Amidst Cervical Cancer. I'm Aisha. I'm the Cervical Cancer Program Coordinator at SHARE. Before we begin, I'd like to tell you a little bit about SHARE. SHARE is a national nonprofit that supports, educates, and empowers anyone who's been diagnosed with breast or gynecologic cancers and provides outreach to the general public about signs and symptoms. Because no one should have to face breast, ovarian, uterine, cervical, or metastatic breast cancer alone. For more information about our upcoming webinars and support groups and our helplines, please visit our website at sharecancersupport.org. Feel free to submit any questions in the comments. Remember that we are unable to give specific medical advice, so please keep your questions general in nature. I would like to hand it over to today's guest, Sarah Waters, to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm from Liverpool in England, for those who are watching from the States and anywhere else. I was diagnosed with cervical cancer in June 2022. I had a radical hysterectomy and lymph node dissection. Unfortunately, it had gone to the lymph nodes, so I then had chemo and radiotherapy for 7 weeks. I also had IVF treatment in between then, where I had 6 eggs removed. Well, I had more than that, but 6 eggs froze successfully because I don't have children. And it's been just over a year since recovery, which has been a bit of a roller coaster, to say the least. And yeah, here I am, just plodding along.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here today.
Mm.
So we have a few questions already, and like I said, feel free to submit any questions that you have, and we'll try to get through as many as we can. So the first question we have, how has your idea of beauty changed since your cervical cancer diagnosis?
Um, well, obviously, it changes so much from during treatment, afterwards. Luckily for me, the type of chemo I had, I didn't lose all my hair, but I lost a lot. So I found it so thin and I kept losing clumps of it. But as I say, I was lucky that I didn't lose it all. But where it started to grow back, it's been very fine. The texture's changed. Obviously, going into menopause because of having the hysterectomy and chemotherapy, radiotherapy,
Right.
it's caused obviously that change in my hair as well.
Mm-hmm.
My skin definitely changed. I had really bad acne, which has definitely calmed down massively now. But I think if you look at it overall, the fact that I've got the infertility thing, going into menopause straight away, it makes you feel, especially as a young woman, I'm only 32, makes you feel like the beauty sort of side. I think it's changed because you feel like older. It's
Yeah,
strange, but
I
because I'm
know,
like, I'm 32, I can't have kids,
right?
and I'm also menopause. It doesn't seem right. So it
Mm-hmm.
kind of, straight away that makes you kind of feel like you've lost that little bit of sort of young beauty, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. I totally feel the same way. And then it's like, I have like hip pains and
Yeah,
random pains that, I'm like, I get out of bed and I'm like a,
aches.
90-year-old woman.
Yeah,
Like it just aged me so much,
your
I
body
feel like.
changes so
Yeah.
much. Like hysterectomy, a big scar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be fair, my scar's really good. It's really neat.
Yeah.
So really, you can't really see it as much anymore. But just having that and that reminder as well, and obviously my tummy's changed, and your
Right.
shape changes. Throughout chemo, I blew up
Yeah.
because, as you know, all medication, what it does to you.
Mm-hmm.
But then now I've gone the other way, and I've probably lost a bit of weight because of the conditions I've had since
I
treatment. So I'm
see.
not eating the same.
Right.
So it's like a roller coaster of things. Your face changes, your body changes. It's
Totally.
it's constantly changing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I gained a lot of weight during treatment also, and it's just been very hard for me to lose that weight.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, I gained it so quickly, and I'll work so hard, I feel
Mm.
like, and but my metabolism is just not where it used to be at all.
No, changes so much,
So,
doesn't it?
so much. Um, so, what strategies have you found helpful for maintaining your self-confidence throughout your cancer experience?
I think probably during treatment, I found well, a lot of people, the amount of gifts you get, you know, like face masks and different creams and different this and different that. You know, I've always tried to like make sure I'm using good products for my skin and for my hair, and I wasn't using heat on my hair at all, just to try and help with that thinness and the texture changing and stuff. So I've
Right.
always tried to, you know, probably spend a bit of money as well
Mm-hmm.
on, you know, the better products.
Mm-hmm.
But also just keeping myself busy when I did feel up to doing stuff
Yeah.
made me feel, you know, like getting myself dressed up. And where I'm from, like we all like getting glam and putting our makeup on
Mm-hmm.
and getting a nice dress. So for me, when I felt up to it, it was getting out the house. And every day after treatment, me and my mum would go past the shops, and I'd go to the shops to get a new dress or a new coat
Mm-hmm.
or a new jumper, just something to make me feel nice. You know,
Yeah.
even though it's just clothing, and even though on the inside I'm dying,
Right.
you know, I'd always try and just do things. You know, it's probably spent a lot of money to be
Yeah.
honest, but doing things like that to cheer myself up, and going to my friends there. You know, two of my really good friends, it was their 30th party. I didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
miss it. Obviously, I couldn't drink. I was still recovering from a massive
Yeah.
surgery. I was about to start treatment, but I got a new dress, probably spent £100 on it,
Mm-hmm.
went to the event, did my hair, makeup, and just doing that, you know, made me feel positive, made me feel a bit more normal as well. And, you know, people
Absolutely.
would say, you look
Mm-hmm.
amazing. And I'd be thinking, I don't, I look okay considering what
Yeah.
I'm going
I
through.
don't feel like it. Yeah.
But just doing that probably has been the thing for me. And then
Mm-hmm.
since then, you know, same again, just trying to feel a bit normal and
Yeah.
doing things like just that I used to do. Probably the
Mm-hmm.
main thing for me.
Absolutely.
Trying to eat well and stuff, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but probably not as much as I should have done. But
I know.
as I say, my eating habits have changed as well. Everything changes. It comes with the
Mm-hmm.
territory, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I'm at least more aware of what I eat. Some days I'm great. Some days I, could be better, but I try to give myself a little grace. But I mean, so the first time I was on treatment, like you, I didn't lose my hair. It just thinned a bit. But the second time I was on treatment, excuse me, I lost all my hair.
Mm.
And I just felt so, I just felt so, I
Like
can't
you lost your
even.
identity a bit.
Yeah, it was just a very weird feeling, and honestly, like my losing my eyebrows and my eyelashes was worse to me than losing my hair because
Mm.
it was easy, I would just put on a wig or something and call it a day, but I still don't know how to put on lashes, and I
Yeah.
didn't know how to do any of those things, but um, I used to I would just kind of isolate a bit, but then I learned how to like draw my eyebrows and,
Mm.
just do little things to myself to make me feel better.
Yeah.
And it helped, I just, it wasn't necessarily different. It started out with just like me going to my kids' events, and I just didn't want to look sick. I didn't
Okay.
want to look different. And so I would just kind of dress myself up to appeal to them. But then I started realizing like I actually feel so much better
Yeah.
just kind
Just
of,
going out and doing what you can with what you've got, kind of thing.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's funny because like for me, which you'll have found the first time round with you keeping the hair, like you go to the shops and you know you're a bit slower than other people, and you know you're in the middle of Boots, like Boots is a shop over here, and I'm like desperate, I'm gonna wee myself, oh my god, because radiotherapy just weakens your bladder so much, and I'm like, Mum, hold that, I've got to find a toilet quickly, you know,
Yep.
and people are looking at you like, you know, you're all right using it, you know, no, you can't use the toilet, sorry, you have to go to a cafe, and I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
me, but because I look
Yeah.
normal. Oh well, I didn't feel like I looked normal for me, but
Right.
to a stranger, they think you look normal, and that's what there's probably been one of the hardest things for me, as you probably found the first time, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like is people thinking, you know, especially because you're
Oh,
young, like
I
you
know.
look okay, even though you don't for you, or you don't look your usual self, which people who know you'll recognize. You know that is so hard, but things like makeup and like I went and got my eyebrows
Mm-hmm.
tattooed and you know put my mascara on because yeah, I did lose a
Sure.
few lashes, but not all of them. And you know, it's just using what you've got, isn't it, to try and make yourself feel a bit better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to the point about, just like people not understanding, how you look at, your treatment based on like how you look. I mean, because like I said, the first time I looked completely normal, aside from my hair thinning a bit, but people would be like, I thought you said that you like had cancer, or you were on cancer treatment. I thought like you were sick, and like, oh my such and such didn't look like that when she was on treatment. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
really know
It's
that?
like if you're not bald, you've
Yeah.
not got
Then,
cancer.
right.
It's like,
It must be fine.
and it's funny because we've probably all been a bit ignorant at one point before, unless you've got somebody close to you or you yourself has gone through it. I suppose you, as I say, you are a bit ignorant to it. But when I went to treatment every day, there was lots of people there with hair, like who had hair, lots, like,
Yeah.
and so many coming in who looked amazing, and they looked like they were in the work stuff, and they were going to work afterwards, like, and I'd be looking thinking, they look amazing, and my mum would say, or my family, whoever was with me, would be like, that's what people say about you. They say you look amazing, like you wouldn't think you're going through it
Yeah.
either. It is. It really is true. It can be invisible, can't it, when
For
you go through
sure.
something like that.
I think it's made me, like, I feel like I've always been essentially a nice person, but I think it's made me a bit nicer because, you know, you see some, like, even when somebody is not so kind to me, I'm just thinking, like, we don't know what they're going through. We don't know, like, they could have just got out of chemotherapy this one. I mean, because that would be me. I'd get out of chemo and I'd go pick my kids up or go to the grocery store. And, you know, I remember one time I had to, you know, we were at the grocery store and I had to get one of those, like, the buggies that you can sit in. And I was getting all these glares from people like, what is this girl doing in this? Like, but I couldn't physically stand. I was so, I had radiation and chemo that morning and I couldn't stand. I felt like I was going to pass out, but people don't know. They just make these assumptions, based on what they see. And, you know, nobody knows what's really going on.
I was the same. My mum's probably got an album of photos of me trying to find the next chair in like a shop,
Yep.
and like pictures of me, and I'm laughing on them because I'm sat there with me normal, like my nice clothes on, my coat on, and sat there like that. I'm just laughing because I'm trying to find, like, there's a stool, then there's a little chair.
I need to sit.
Then I'm like, I don't care. I'll go to the changing rooms and just pretend that I'm trying clothes on, sit down for 5 minutes. Like, just, go to the toilet and have a wee. I might have a little sit down for 5 minutes while I'm here. But it's true. Like, you know, you don't know. And me myself, like you just said, I'm a nice person and I am aware of those things already. But since going through this, even more so, I am like, you just don't know what's going on with the person next to you. And it's really sad. I don't mean this to generalize, but I think a lot of older people, especially because they're still in that generation, you know, even things like, I've gone to Boots to get into the shop or wherever to get my prescription, and an old person's there looking at me as if to say, well, I should go first because I'm old. And like, actually, I'm like, I need to go first because if I don't go now, like, I'm going to drop to the floor, or I'm going to be late for chemo, or I'm going to be late for this, or
100%. Absolutely.
Just don't. Nobody knows, do they? And it makes you realize, like, especially now.
Yeah. Oh, totally. So let's see. What do we have? We kind of touched on this a little bit, but can you share anything that has helped you feel beautiful despite the challenges of your diagnosis?
Yeah, probably everything that I've said, really.
Yeah.
Just a lot of self-care, a lot of baths, nice bubble baths, bath makeup, you know, changing my skin regime, trying to try new stuff. As well as that, as I say, for me, it always goes back to the going out and feeling normal and getting dressed up. And sometimes when I've been really tired, you know, and my mum said, no, you can't go out tonight, or don't go tonight, I know you're supposed to be seeing your friend or this person, but they'll understand if you need to cancel. Like, for me, I'm like, no, because that's when I feel like a bit like me, and I feel nicer in myself because people look at me and go, oh, she looks well considering, or you look amazing after what you've gone through. And you know, not only that, but, you know, doing things that I enjoy that make me feel confident. I sing, you know, so for me, doing a little bit of singing in bars and stuff like that, you know, I used to sing full time, but now I've been really lucky the last few months just to do a little bit of singing here and there, and that's when I feel most confident, and that brings me a lot of joy. So doing that makes you kind of feel beauty as well, doesn't it? Because it's that inner beauty, that inner confidence that makes you feel better in yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. It started out with, like, my nighttime routine. I started taking that, just like, kind of like romanticizing that time, you know, like some candles and just, like, you know, do my skincare, just, you know, do my hair and just, like, you know, putting on some nice pajamas, just kind of anything, you know, just to try to to take that time to
Yeah,
myself and, make me feel really good. So,
yeah. And getting things like, different, trying different herbal things or different vitamins. And because, like, as you know, like, when you've gone through all that treatment, your joints aren't the same, your bones aren't the same, you're so achy. So it's like, it's trial and error a lot of the time as well. Some people will say, oh, I tried this thing and it worked for me. And another person will say, oh, I tried this thing. So
mm-hmm.
it's sort of trying different things, taking different herbal things, different vitamins. And,
Mm-hmm.
it's, sometimes, like anyone, when you're just feeling low or you're having a bit of a rough week or a rough day, I don't do any of that at all. And then, my sister or other people will be like, you need to try
Mm-hmm.
this. So I do have to remind myself to be kind to myself, to be like, no, I don't want to do that today. I'm feeling rough, I feel crap, and that's it.
And that's okay.
But it's make sure that, and being okay with it, but making sure on those other days that I'm having a better day, okay, I'm a bit more motivated today, what I'm going to try that's going to help,
Mm-hmm.
with this feeling or with this side effect, or with what's going to make me feel better on the
Right.
outside.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So important.
Mm.
How do you balance the physical changes like losing your hair?
In what respect?
Mm-hmm. Um, I guess, I guess, just how do you still, how can you still feel good about yourself when you're, I guess, losing a part of yourself?
Mm. Probably talking to other people about what they've done and getting advice off people, whether it be people who've gone through it, or my hairdresser, for example, saying, I went to have my hair done a couple of weeks ago, and she was pulling up pieces saying, oh my god, look at all this new hair coming through, and
Mm-hmm.
we were laughing, going, oh my god, didn't realise how much I had actually lost. And
Right.
saying, do you know what, it's expensive, but get the shampoo and conditioner, you're going to feel the difference, you're going to notice the difference. And you know what, just from a couple of washes, I have noticed the difference. So it's
Yeah.
taking a bit more time to do things like that, or spending a bit more time doing my hair in the morning. Or
Mm-hmm.
I think the main thing, apart from like material things, it's the communicating with the cancer community, as we call it, and asking for advice on what to do,
Mm-hmm.
taking that and going, okay, I'll try that next time. So yeah, I'd probably say it's more the talking to people, finding out
Yeah.
what they do, and then trying different things. I wouldn't say I've really done one thing and I've stuck to that and noticed a change with that, because that's not how it works. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
especially for me, I found, you probably found the same, recovery, it's not straightforward.
No.
I feel like I'm going up, and then it's constantly 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. I end up in hospital, and then it's starting over again. Then I think, right, I'll get a PT. So I got a PT last year, and she's amazing, Emma Dice.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to go to some classes, and then my back went, and then I ended up having a nightmare with that. So
Mm-hmm.
that kind of put me back again another couple of months. So
Yeah.
it's, unfortunately for me and for a lot of people, it's not that straightforward. So you can try things, but then you end up having to sort of regroup and think, right, okay, that I need to try something else now, because now I've got this problem.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that, it took me a while to start talking to other people who've been affected by cancer. And when I finally did, I felt so much better because I started to see like what was working for them and, just kind of relate in a different way. I mean, because your friends and, those close to you can understand,
Yeah.
they can empathize, but for somebody, talking to other people and seeing exactly what worked for them and getting their insight, I feel like made so much difference for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. It definitely has for me as well. And it's just having that person, like another person, to sort of be able to moan to
Right.
about it as well. It is so hard, isn't it, talking to family or close friends or partners or whatever
Mhm.
about stuff, because they don't understand, and they can sympathize, but you feel like you can offload a bit more, like, to people who've gone through it, don't
Oh,
you? Or going through.
absolutely. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, how do you navigate the weight changes during or after treatment while still feeling confident?
Oh, again, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's been sort of having like the hysterectomy. Obviously, I could barely walk the first few
Yeah.
weeks. My stomach changed massively. You know, those core muscles completely getting cut through
Right.
has obviously caused a lot of weakness with my
Mm-hmm.
core and legs as well. So I found I did have a bit of weight gain. And I found that as well with the steroids I was on during chemo, those first few days I was eating like I've never ate
Oh
before.
my
And
God, me too.
I'm not even
Yeah.
a big eater. I eat like a bird. I'm a proper picker. But I would eat like a whole box of biscuits, and I just, you know, my mum used to sit and because she moved in with me when I was going through treatment,
Mm-hmm.
and we'd just
Mm-hmm.
laugh because we'd see how much I was eating. I'd eat a
Yeah.
whole box, you know. So
Oh my
at
God.
that time, I did give myself a bit of a break because I wasn't doing anything. I was in
Right.
treatment 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
The odd weekend I'd do something if I felt up to it, which was most of the time I didn't. So
Mm-hmm.
at that time was different. But afterwards, I think when I started to be like, right, okay, it's time for recovery, start to make some plans, do this, do that. I probably found it a little bit difficult just because clothes didn't fit the same, and
Mm-hmm.
clothes that I used to wear didn't feel the same on. And
Right.
but then I found that my weight's gone the other way, and I've lost a bit of weight this time,
Mm-hmm.
which, you know, obviously has made me feel better. But then I'm not as toned as I used to be. So
Yeah.
I still feel a bit like jelly. If you know
Right.
what I mean.
I
Um,
understand.
so it's again, it's just it's so up and down. Some
Mm-hmm.
days I'll feel confident, like, oh, I look good in this today, or oh, I can wear that skirt
Mm-hmm.
now. I couldn't wear that before. But then there'll be another day where I'm a bit more
Mm-hmm.
bloated and my belly's kicking off or my bladder's kicking off, and I'm just like, oh, I feel like a slob.
I know, I know. And like I've always kind of just struggled with like not necessarily my weight, but just my shape. I just have always struggled with like finding because I'm like, I'm relatively short and but I've never been like super thin. And so I've just always had like kind of like a weird like this the sizing of my pants has just always been weird. They'll either fit me on the
I
waist,
know.
but then they'll be too long or something like that. So I'm like I've always had that. And so then with like the weight gain, I feel like a lot of it just like went to my face and my arms. And it was just very,
Same.
it was weird, like, cause my arms, like I would never mind like showing like my shoulders or arms or whatever. If I, especially like certain cuts of clothing that would like hide your stomach, it might be kind of off the shoulders or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So then it was just like trying to find like the right balance of stuff. And then like I had a port. And so then, that scar was just kind of weird and just trying to be, trying to hide that at first. But then, like, I would just remind myself of kind of everything that I've been through. And, I'm still here and it's beautiful. But I definitely have to have a lot of pep talks.
Yeah, you constantly have to remind yourself, don't you? And
Mm-hmm.
I don't realize, and I'd say a lot. Like, I've seen a therapist, and I'm in this group, as I told you about before, this group through Macmillan.
Yeah.
And only since I've joined that, I've realized, like, people are like, you do realize that every time you're here, you put pressure on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
or you give yourself a hard time about things, or you'll say, oh, well, I'm not as busy as other people, so I know that I can't really. Like, it doesn't matter. You've gone through your own journey,
Yeah,
and you might have gone through more stuff. You might have more side effects than that person, or this or that.
absolutely.
And the same with the weight thing. It's reminding myself. Do you know what? Like, I can't go on. I can't diet as easy as another person because
Mm-hmm.
there's certain foods I can't eat the same, or I feel fuller all the time now. So
Right.
maybe I'm not eating always the best times of the
Mm-hmm.
day. But I've just got. If I don't feel like eating at that time, I'm not going to eat at that time. And if I
Yeah.
want to eat at that time, at the end of the day, this is still recovery, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody who's gone through it knows recovery isn't just
Right.
overnight. It's not even over six
Yeah.
months. It's a few years
Mm-hmm.
before you, as you said yourself, it's been 6 7 years
Yeah.
for you, and you still don't feel like your energy is the same.
No.
Like, and for a young person, again, as we said before, like, it's unbelievable to feel that way. So it's trying to not put pressure on yourself and remind yourself that, you know what, weight's changed a bit now. Do you know what? It is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
I'm here. So
Exactly.
a lot of
Exactly.
books.
Having teenage daughters has helped me too because I
Yeah.
have to like practice what I preach. Like, I want because their weight fluctuates and I want them to, love their body in all their stages. And so
Yeah.
by, being kinder to myself, um, by encouraging them to be kinder to themselves, I'm kinder to myself as well. Because
Yeah.
I don't want them to have weird body images just because, I do.
Yeah. Definitely.
Um, sorry, my computer's dying. Um, Okay, so what advice would you offer to others experiencing hair loss or weight changes during their cervical cancer journey on maintaining a positive body image and embracing their beauty? It's kind of a long question.
Yeah, I feel like I keep answering the questions before they go.
I know, right? We kind of did, yeah.
It's always the way. Um, Probably the main one is just get off your own backs. Don't give yourself a hard time. You're going through like the biggest thing that anyone can go through in their life. Particularly if you are having to have both surgery and treatment. You know, if one person had just a hysterectomy and nothing else, you know, I've met a few people who've had cervical cancer and they have only had the surgery, and luckily for them, they've not had to have treatments, but that's still a major thing to go through. And they, when I've spoke to them and when I've seen their stories on Instagram and stuff, they've explained how it's changed their life and how they've found it hard to, like, you know, go back to dance class or to lose weight the same. And you know, it's just that surgery alone is a massive thing for your body to go through, and it takes a long time for it to mend itself. So even just that one thing, but for me, what I have to tell myself and to anyone else who's gone through a similar thing to me is, you know, you've not got time to recover and try and get back to normal from just one thing. You've got a lot to do in the space. For me, it was in the space of like 6 months, all of it. And yeah, you know, as long as the cancer's gone, you've got the time to get back to your fitness and to get your body a bit back to normal. But you've also got to let your body do its thing as well, because it's not the same. And some days I will wake up, I'll look in the mirror and think, God, my belly looks massive today. And another day I'll feel a bit skinny today. Not like it's not important. It's like, that's the one thing. It's not important. Your body is not important as long as you're healthy. But it's not being so hard on yourself. And you know, taking advice from others is a big thing. You know, some people can do a lot of preaching who've not gone through it, and they say, well, I researched this, I researched that. Okay, but you've not gone through it, so go through it first, and then you'll see. It might not, you know, it's not easy to have those drinks that, you know, make it a bit easier to go to the toilet, or for this, that. You know, you have to drink that I can't because it causes me nausea, or like because I can't drink anymore, you know. So it's taking the advice of other people who've gone through it as well, and listen and trial and error. Try different things. Don't just think, oh, because that person or that company say, oh, we swear by this. You know, there was a really, really good shampoo and conditioner. Well, everyone was swearing by it, and I used it, and it didn't work as well for me as a different one that I've got was. So it's different for every single person is different. So you've just got to let your body also get used to the changes, because it's gone through a lot, and it's amazing what our bodies go through. It's how they bounce. Well, they don't bounce back straight away, but how they're still going after having all this treatment and surgery. And it's just, so it's don't give yourself a hard time, and just listen to others and take advice from others. And that's probably the main thing I'd say has helped me.
Yeah, giving yourself some grace. I mean, just to the all that, you know, we've been through. And you know, I struggle with that a lot, and sometimes, but I'm trying to get better about it. But you know, like sometimes, like, you know, I have to get up in the morning and work or take my kids to school or whatever. But if days that I don't have to do that, I struggle to kind of get out of bed. And then I'm like, I'm only, you know, 39 years old. Why am I so tired? Or, oh, I'm unproductive. I'm sleeping until like such and such. But I mean, I just have to kind of remind myself that, you know, we're all individuals and we've all had different experiences, and it makes us who we are. And we can't compare ourselves to, you know, anyone else in general, but also just we've gone through things that a lot of people haven't. So,
and the amount, and you know, like a lot of people, you're good at giving advice, but not always taking your own advice. And the amount of days I get up and I am negative. Everyone says to me, "You're so positive," and to be honest with you, I've had a lot of negative days, and I have days I'm just like, I've had enough, and I'll cry over the smallest thing. And people, you know, if I'm speaking to family or someone else, they'll go say, "Do you know what though? This is nothing compared to what you're." I'm like, I know, but just this one little thing is bugging me to, and I just don't need this, because I've got enough bad luck. I've gone through enough. So like, you know, I am my worst own enemy sometimes, so I do give myself a hard time, but I try not to always, and I'm definitely getting better. I think the time is a healer as well, and the longer it's been since, I
Absolutely.
am getting better, and I'm definitely more positive. And the day, as I say, the days that I am feeling more proactive or I am a bit more motivated, I just have to grab those days with both hands and try make the most of that. Because the days when you're having a negative day or a day that you're not feeling like taking that advice or having that healthy wet drink or whatever,
Sure.
then that's okay. Like you said, just remind yourself you've been through a lot. So if you want to be
Yeah.
so what? Like, you can do what you want. Like, if you want to
Mm-hmm.
stay in bed and have longer sleep, then you can. You've gone through a lot.
Exactly.
And I've not got any
Exactly.
kids or anything, so
Right.
I've not got any kids to get up for. So for me, I'm probably a bit lazier than other people, but I'm allowed to be lazy because I'm tired and
You're
gone through a
allowed to.
lot.
Exactly. We're allowed to do whatever feels good for our body, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, have you discovered any new practices or rituals that help you feel beautiful and empowered during your cervical cancer journey?
Um, honestly, probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Um, going back to what I've said, it's been where I've obviously started the menopause. That's probably the one thing actually recently I've started to try and take some new things, that going online and seeing what vitamins are best to take for my iron, and for to strengthen my
Sure.
bones, as well as I've obviously been given HRT to the hormone
Yeah.
replacement, and different people say use a gel, use this, use that, but I'm trying to like just use what the doctor's given me for now, take their advice,
Mm-hmm.
but also doing what I can to sort of help. So as I say, I've started to take some different vitamins of a night. That's probably the only thing I would say I've really changed. Otherwise, I have been quite, again, probably hard on myself and wanting to be back to the old me, which I do need to remind myself that I am a different person. That it does change you. It's a massive thing that I've gone
Right.
through. But for me, I'd say it's probably been more just going back to those little things that I used to do that I did enjoy. Do you know what? Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do them. And then
Yeah.
if I'm going to need to do half, if I'm going to do, a few hours and I'm too tired, that's fine. But it's, yeah, I haven't really done anything like massively drastically changing. But again, like the last time I was in hospital was the end of November. So for me, I think where I try to do new things, then something else happens and hits me in the
Mm-hmm.
face. Um, so yeah, so I've made little changes,
Yeah.
but again, it's more just trying to get back to doing things that I enjoy
Yeah.
and being around people who I like being around. And I'm going to my friends tomorrow, which is a couple of hours drive away, and
Mm-hmm.
that's even a big thing for me
Yeah.
because going away and having to walk around somewhere new that I'm not used to. Having being close to home
Mm-hmm.
is a lot easier because at least if I'm feeling tired or I've got
Right.
me home comforts to go back to. So even doing things like that is pushing myself out of my comfort zone. Whereas last year I had a couple of weekends away, but I was with my family and I knew I had that sort of person to lean on. Whereas this is me going away on
Mm-hmm.
my own, and so it's just, yeah, for me it's just, I wouldn't say anything. I haven't tried anything to drastically change or to help. It's just little changes as I go along. And I think as it goes along, as the years go and the stronger I get, I probably will,
Right.
try
Right.
as well.
Yeah. I think like at first I was like trying to do, because once you finish treatment, it just the fear kind of changes from like, I want to get rid of the cancer. I'm doing all these things to get rid of the cancer, and then it transitions to I have to do everything to make sure the cancer doesn't come back. And so it's like it's so difficult. And so I had tried all these things like right at first, and then I found that like I wasn't really happy because I was still just kind of centering my life around cancer and doing all these things. And then I'm like, I don't want my life to revolve around cancer anymore. And so I just started to be, more cognizant of like choices I was making, or, you know, eating or drinking, or like you said, vitamins and stuff like that, just trying different things. And then like, it took me a while to just kind of like get to a balance of
Yeah,
like, okay, I'm here. I'm gonna, just try to, I want to kind of get back to normal, but I'm still kind of centering my life around cancer. And so I just kind of, I don't know, I just found the balance in just
yeah.
like,
Even
yes, I had cancer and I
even
had this thing, but
things, yeah, even little things like I know this is daft, but I love going out and having a few
Mm-hmm.
cocktails with my friends and stuff, and I can't drink alcohol the same.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone who knows me like knows I love a night out. I'm such a girly girl. I love
Mm-hmm.
having a dance and having shots and
Yeah.
all that stuff. But now a night out for me, yeah, I still do that,
Mm-hmm.
but I do need to sit down in between, and I can't drink as much. So
Mm-hmm.
I will just I might sneak to the bar and get just a lime and
Yeah.
soda instead of a vodka soda. But it's okay because I'm
Okay.
here, and you know what? I don't need to drink
Right.
loads of alcohol to feel, to feel like I'm having a good time. For me,
Mm-hmm.
I'll have a couple of drinks, but I don't want to drink as much because it isn't good for my
Yeah.
body to drink loads of alcohol anyway. But I can't handle it the same either. But for me, it's I'm trying to just take care of my body as well, because whenever I have drank a lot, I always feel terrible the next day as well.
Oh.
So I'm trying to think, oh, I don't want to feel really bad tomorrow. Like, it's fine, I'll have a few. I'll
Yeah.
just go out and have a good time anyway. Like, it's little things like that. It sounds daft, but it's
No,
little
it's
things which
I agree.
make it.
I I transitioned to to just red wine, and I find that I by getting when I go out with my friends or dinner or whatever, I'll just get a glass of red wine. You can't drink that fast, right? So I just sip on it, and I realize that like people, sometimes we're drinking so many drinks because we want to get to this point, but honestly, you can feel pretty good just
Mm,
on one glass of wine.
yeah,
It's just the pace that you're drinking it at.
yeah,
Um, and sometimes it's just kind of like the placebo, like just getting like the club soda with the lime.
mm-hmm.
You're feeling like you're having something, and I'm sure you're still like, I think you had a friend comment that you're a good time. We don't need something to like make us feel like we need to have a good
Mm,
time.
yeah, definitely.
Um, so yeah.
I feel like I have something else as well, but I've completely forgot now because this is what happens. My
Oh
memory goes.
my gosh, me too.
Oh, it's
I
shocking.
know. No, it drives me crazy.
It might come to me.
What's that?
It'll probably
Oh, of
come to me in a bit.
course. I know. Um, has how oh, excuse me. How has your support network helped you manage your self-esteem and body image since your diagnosis?
Oh God, like,
Oh.
probably been one of the main things that's helped me. I've spoke a lot about how the cancer community is so helpful, and it massively is, and there's so many inspirational people that I follow and people that I know who's gone through it,
Mm-hmm.
and they are a massive help. But I think one thing that people can probably relate to, like friends and family who haven't gone through it, is they have been a massive support for me, and because they haven't gone through it and they don't understand,
Mm-hmm.
just building me up and saying, "Sarah, you look
Yeah.
amazing today," or "Oh my God, you look so skinny." We all like it when someone says that, or saying, "Oh, your hair looks like it a lot better," or whatever. Being around friends and family and going out for a meal or going out for a
Mm-hmm.
walk or just going to the shops or anything, being around those positive people who aren't ill or haven't been ill or haven't gone through this,
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're so good at, because they can't sort of relate and they can't help with some things. That's where they massively help.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they have been a massive help, and they are the people that motivate me
Yeah.
the most as well. My sister constantly tells me to try different things and to do this, and
Mm-hmm.
she's a very proactive person.
Mm-hmm.
um Sometimes too proactive and
Yeah.
I'm like, not today. But we've got to have someone like that, and it is people like her and my friends and other close family that build me up and make me feel good about myself. And
Mm.
that's why I do try to, even the days that I am tired and people, especially my mum, will say, "Oh no, don't go out, well, you're obviously not well enough," or
Mm-hmm.
I'll go, "No, I will," because that's when I feel good about myself
Yeah.
again, when I'm around those people. So for me, it's surrounding myself with those people, because unfortunately, going through all this, I didn't spend a lot of time with people because I wasn't well enough,
Yeah.
and I couldn't go out because I didn't have the energy to walk, or
Mm-hmm.
they'd just come and see me to call around for a couple of hours. So being able to put nice clothes on and get out the house, like, that's when I feel good. And the people that are there with me, supporting me and taking me out and
Mm-hmm.
planning nice things with me, that make, and work as well, those people as well, everyone's sort of constantly building me up, telling me I'm amazing. And it's
Oh,
good
I
to
love it.
probably get a big head sometimes, but no, it does, that's what makes you feel good. It's when other people praise you, what you've been through, and then it's trying to do it yourself as well, isn't it? You know,
Mm-hmm.
joining these little groups and having that little network. You know, we all sort of big each other up, don't we? So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
That's wonderful. I'm so glad you have a good support system. It's so important.
yeah, I do.
Um, okay. What has made the biggest difference in your outlook on embracing beauty amidst your cervical cancer diagnosis?
Could you say that again? Sorry.
What has made the biggest difference in your outlook on embracing beauty? Excuse me.
Um, it's difficult because I think I am quite hard on myself,
Mm-hmm.
and being where I'm from, it's quite a glam city, Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's always very, takes good care of
Yeah.
themselves and make up hair every
Mm-hmm.
day, and I've always been that kind of person. So I probably give myself a hard
Right.
time a lot. But I must admit, when I have to constantly remind myself of how I felt when I was going through treatments, and when my skin broke out into terrible acne, and it was a bit puffier because of chemo and the medication,
Mm-hmm.
my hair, etc. So I constantly remind myself, do you know what though? How does my hair feel? Like the difference in my hair. And I constantly go to people, oh look, feel my
Mm-hmm.
hair. The ponytail's a lot thicker now. Before it felt like this tiny little piece of hair. So it's constantly just reminding myself of how I felt
Yeah.
before. And I found it quite easy to go back to that place. And even though it can be quite a difficult place to go back to emotionally, doing that just reminds me of, do you know what though? Like, look what I looked like then.
Yeah.
Like, I know sometimes, people want you to move forward and not look back on it, but you have to remind yourself of
You
how
do.
lucky you are to be here, to look the way I do now, like, compared to what I did then, you
Yeah.
know. So it's more that constant reminder of, you know what, though, look at how far you've come. And you know what, even though your hair's not as thick as it was before, even though this or that,
Yeah.
whatever everyone else struggles with since, it's still, you're still here and you still looked a lot worse. And
Oh my gosh.
and
Yeah.
it's not just the outside, but the
Mm-hmm.
inside, the other things. So strange that we're having this today, because the group session that I go to yesterday was about body
Oh,
image,
okay.
which is really strange. I said, oh, I've got this Instagram live tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about menopause, having
Yeah.
hot flushes. I'm 32. I'm on a night out and I'm looking for a menu to find myself, and I'm
I
just like,
know.
oh god, like, and I'm like embarrassed. So like, it's that inner beauty as well. It's reminding myself, do you know what? Yeah, you're going through menopause. You shouldn't be at this age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've gone through that. Yeah, you can't have a baby, which is a massive, as a woman, it's a
I
massive
know.
thing to lose. But reminding myself of the other things that I have got, that other women haven't been as fortunate to
Mm-hmm.
have. So it's that constant mental reminder, I'd say, that keeps me, sort of in check, and reminds myself of, you know what, they're like, you look okay. Like,
Mm-hmm.
stop giving me a hard time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Um, can you share any resources or tips for finding beauty and positivity during a cervical cancer diagnosis?
Um, I get reaching out to, people who, like, obviously in the community, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people give advice on different hair products they've used, different skin care, and people have gift. Obviously, there's a lot of kind people as well who watch our stories
Mm-hmm.
and follow our journeys, who are kind enough to gift us those things. Take them
Yeah.
and use them, and try different things. And every day I would try like a different skin cream or a different thing to help with my hair, and just trying everything that everyone gives you, because not I wouldn't a person would say more natural things have helped me,
Mm-hmm.
and I've noticed the difference with more natural things than, like, your things you get in your sort of local, beauty shop.
Sure.
But it's more like talking to people and asking people what they've used, and trying it. If it doesn't work, try something else. And you know things obviously do cost a lot of
Mm-hmm.
money, but if you can
Yeah.
spend a little bit extra to get something that actually might really help you.
Yeah.
And yeah, take all the
I
gifts,
know,
all the gifts you
right?
can, well, that people give you to help with your skin and with your hair, and Yeah, that's probably a big thing. But again, surrounding yourself with people who make you feel good about yourself as well.
I love that.
It's for me, it's the mental thing more
It
than
is.
the physical thing. And treat yourself, be kind to yourself. You know, if you feel like being a scruff one day, or feeling you want to put your tracksuit on, you don't feel like, so what?
Yeah,
That's fine.
it's okay.
You'll still
Yeah,
slay it. But
absolutely.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so
I love that.
it's more the mental thing, I would say, for me.
It is. It is. I agree with that. I mean, I guess that kind of answers the next one too. What advice would you give others facing cervical cancer on embracing their beauty and strength?
I think, as well as the other stuff we've said, you know, I've mentioned about going to a therapist and going to these groups. I think some people can find it, or people who haven't gone through it may think, oh, you know, do you really need that reminder? Do you need to be around that? But it's okay to get upset sometimes, and it's okay to get upset with people who, especially in these groups that I've been going to, who have gone through it, because we can all also laugh. Like yesterday in the group session I went to, we were laughing a lot because we were talking about body image and intimacy, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
how, you know, some of the ladies who have breast cancer talking about how the boobs have changed,
Yeah.
and this, that, the other, and obviously I've had some changes as well. So it's for me, I'd say reaching out and talking to people about these things as well is where you find most of your strength, because you know, it's okay to feel like, do you know what, actually, yeah, you know, it's nice for people to say, you've done amazing, like, look how strong you are, you've gone through that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, wasn't like that. And it's like, for me, it's been a bit of an eye-opener to me recently, because some of the people that I've met who've not had a gynecological
Mm-hmm.
cancer, having radiotherapy of the pelvis causes so much damage to all those organs.
Right.
And some of these ladies I've met who've had breast cancer, I'm like, God, I can't believe, you know. And it's like, it's kind of been good for me, because it's reminded me, oh, do you know what, like, it's okay that I'm not feeling back to normal, because look what I've gone through,
No.
actually. Yeah, like, it's the reaching out and talking to people is a massive thing, and
Mm-hmm.
it makes you feel better about yourself on the inside, which naturally makes you feel better on the outside.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's really good advice. Um, Looking back on your experience, what have you discovered about true beauty and self-worth that you wish you would have known earlier?
Um, I don't know how to answer that.
Mm-hmm. I guess, like, if you could tell yourself something back when you were going through treatment, you, maybe that's a better question. Like, if you could give yourself advice, you know, at the point when you were going through treatment.
Um, Probably that
Mm-hmm.
positivity, and trying to have a goal of
Yeah.
what's, you know, of the end, you know, there is light at the end of the tunnel, you will get
Mm-hmm.
through it. It's probably the main thing, because having that constant reminder, especially as a young person, of looking in the mirror and seeing the differences it's making to your body, to your face, to your hair,
Yeah.
you know, i I found that really, I struggled with it massively. And as much as people would say you look amazing, you know, people aren't going to say to you you look terrible, apart from
Right.
maybe the people really, really closest to you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's trying to, I must admit, I had days where I was positive, but I did have a lot of days that, because I felt so ill on
Yeah.
the inside, and then obviously on the outside, it reflected that. And because of the changes with the hair and the body, etc., I,
Mm-hmm.
I think looking back now, I'd be like, do you know what? No, I should have been a bit more. Do you know what though? I will get through it,
Mm-hmm.
because everyone else do. And
Yeah.
even if I don't, do you know what? I can do what I can, like, I can for now, which I was doing. I suppose action wise, I was getting new clothes, and I was trying different nice things on my hair and makeup and stuff.
Right.
But I'd say that having that mental positive attitude, um, to make myself see, do you know what? In the future though, I am gonna get my hair
Mm-hmm.
back properly, and skin back and my body back. And even though it's not fully back now, you know, it's a long process, but just reminding myself that it's going to be a long process. It is what it is. It's unfortunately, it is the card you've been dealt. But
Yeah.
look at other women; they've gone through it. It's been a journey for them, but now look where they are. They look amazing now.
Amazing.
You know, there's So I'd say it was that, just be kind to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and be positive with yourself. And even if you're not expressing that just in your head, think, you know what, no, like, I know I look terrible today, but I'm going through this,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why, you know,
Yeah.
once you finish this, it will get better, it will improve. Would you say it was the same for you? Would you say you were different the second time round?
Yeah. I mean, so the second time I was definitely, I learned between the first time and the second time, like how important my mind was. You
Yeah,
know, I just, it was really, once I conquered my mind, I felt like I could conquer everything. And I realized like how much I was getting in my own way and getting in my head, and it was preventing me from doing anything really. You know, I was just, I'd had kind of, you know, life had been rough. And so I was just like, this was just another thing. And this was like always something
not
happening. And,
this
you know,
again.
right, you know, and so but once I shifted that mindset, I was just like, okay, like, let me try to find the good in this, you know, let me, you know, just think about anything positive I could. I felt like life just overall became a little better and I could relate it to anything, you know, I mean, okay, I'm losing my hair and I don't really love the way I look, but at the same time, I'm still
Yeah,
here, you know, and, you know, they gave me a few months to live and I was, you know, here. It was in treatment, but it was like a year later. So, I mean, just that, you know,
mm,
um, you just have to think about kind of how far you've come and the fact that you're still here and there's beauty in everything and it doesn't necessarily look a certain way and but it really is like the power of your mind.
yeah.
You can conquer so much.
I think as well, like, um, the finding out that I couldn't carry my own baby and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, you know, is a horrendous thing. Like, it's like a double whammy of bad
Yeah.
news. That's what I kept saying. You know, it's not just I've been diagnosed with cancer. I've been told that I won't be able to carry my own child. Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and straight away, to make you feel better, everyone's like, you can adopt, or you can,
Ah,
if you can freeze your eggs, you can get a surrogate. Like,
sure.
it'll still be your baby.
Right.
And so, and that's right, but at that time, it's like, but no, it's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I was so grateful that when I did freeze my eggs, you know, I got 6 eggs, and I had to start being like, do you know what though? That woman I read about, or that woman I asked, she only got 3. I
Yeah.
got 6. Like, you know, half a dozen. Like,
Right.
that's like 6 chances. And it's, you know, for anyone else who's got children, you've just, there's such a gift.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most beautiful things in life is to be able to carry your own child or have a baby. And for me, that's gone away. But how lucky that I've got those eggs, and how lucky that, you know, here in the UK, I've been able to have it for free.
That's
And
amazing.
especially, you know, during that period of surgery and starting chemo and radiotherapy, I didn't know if I was definitely having to have treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And when I found out I was having to have treatment, because there had been a spread to the lymph nodes, you know, they were like, you've not got a lot of time to
Yeah.
be able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up getting pneumonia and was so poorly in hospital. You know, I thought I was going to die. It was the most horrendous time.
Right.
And so I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to. So I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. And luckily, I came out of hospital, and it was that week I started the IVF
Mm-hmm.
injections. And so when I look back now, I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm so lucky that I got to do that. And that is a beautiful thing and an amazing thing, because having infertility is, it's awful, and it's
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest things that's, you know, affected me.
Right.
But, you know, how amazing when you look at people who've had a surrogate to have a baby, and like, it's like an extra lucky, you know, baby, isn't it? And
Yeah.
so that's like a beautiful thing that, you know, hopefully one day I'll be able to have. But
So
it's being positive, isn't it? It's being positive.
absolutely. Ah, this has been such a great talk today. I'm so glad that
I
you
know.
joined me. This was great.
Hopefully,
I really enjoyed speaking with you, and I hope that we can speak again.
definitely.
Thank you for participating. Thank you to everyone who's submitted questions. Make sure you check our educational programs and support groups. They are pinned in the chat, and also give us a follow. This concludes our cervical chat. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was so nice talking to you.
So nice talking to
You're
you.
amazing
Thank
as
you.
well.
You are. All
Oh,
right.
thank you.
Enjoy your day.
See ya. You too.